Welcome back in. You've seen our coverage of tornado damage in Calera. Thankfully, no loss of life there. And a big thanks goes to first responders for their help before and after a tornado came through. But that effort also highlights a problem that needs to be addressed in some communities. Joining us by Zoom from Calera is the Police Chief, David Heisch. Chief, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing this.
All right, first take me back to Saturday evening. What calls were your officers getting, and describe the response to areas that were impacted?
Well, we had set up a command post in anticipation, and we started hearing the tornado coming through from the command post. I stepped outside and saw the rain start to swirl as opposed to falling down. It was going in a circular motion. Then I started hearing the debris and hearing the transformers pop. So we knew at that moment that we had been hit. Pretty soon, I'd say within 10 or 15 seconds, the calls for help started coming in to dispatch.
Now, before the tornado hit, though, your department also had to become a shelter. And this really puts a spotlight on needs that need to be addressed. So tell us what happened rather unexpectedly there.
Yeah, well, we have two community shelters, but they're really close to each other. They're about a mile apart, but we cover 84 square miles. So there's a need for more shelters. So two of our schools, our intermediate and our high school, both opened their doors. Kind of a last minute request, but they opened their doors as shelters, and those two were virtually full. So we staffed those with our SROs, but I visited all four shelters during the night, and everybody was so well behaved and grateful to be there. It really turned out to be a good experience, and I believe that those shelters absolutely saved people's lives.
And we saw that happen in other communities nearby, like in Helena as well. But just driving your way around now, what are your thoughts on seeing some of the damage you see?
Well, the odd thing is it was very sporadic. Like you would see in the trailer park where the gentleman, lost his trailer, you see 4 or 5 trailers damaged and the others are fine. And then you may have several hundred yards with no damage, and then here's a destroyed building. So I don't know the dynamics of how tornadoes work, but it was really odd that some trailers and houses and businesses were totally unscathed and others were totally destroyed.
Almost like it bounced around. What are the biggest needs and the message your department would like to send out, though, as cleanup continues?
Well, one thing that happened with us is a Vestavia officer that was there helping us found a family standing outside in the rain when we were still under tornado watches and warnings. And their trailer had been destroyed. I had actually searched that trailer earlier, and we found their dog. The family had evacuated, but the dog and the cats were there. But that family had nowhere to go, nothing to eat, and it's the middle of the night. So we brought them back to the PD. We got on the phone trying to find aid, but you can imagine at 1 or 2 in the morning, we really couldn't get help for them. So we actually set up a place for them to stay at our police department, the dog and the cat as well. And we got them something to eat, so they were okay over the night. But I see that as a gap in what we do. The next day, we were overwhelmed with help. But those first few hours, I mean, we come out as first responders, we check, we render aid. But if your house is destroyed, who's going to take care of you that night and get you to safety that night? That's something we probably need to readdress and come up with a better plan for. And when I say we, I don't mean just Calera, I mean everybody.
Yeah, so a lot of our state leaders need to take a look at that for sure, but we're certainly thankful so much for the first responders there and your staff there in Calera, as well as other communities that were impacted. Chief David Heisch, we appreciate it so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you for what you do as well.
All right, we'll be right back.